I mean, you had several months at least collectively.
Yep.
I mean, I assume even at that point, you were able to wrap platoon mates up fairly well and be successful against them.
It was very successful against,
There's no more hazing of Jocko at that point.
No, and plus you're in your second platoon now. Now the hazer, the hazy becomes the hazer.
Yeah. Did you do much of that? Or was it just kind of the standard?
Yes, but and I had, my crew of guys, my old running mate back then, we were definitely some, we were not, you did not want to mess up in our platoon.
Yeah.
We took being in the SEALs very seriously. We took being in a platoon very seriously. We took the job very seriously. You didn't want to be late. You didn't want to forget gear. You didn't want to do something stupid on a training op.
Yeah.
Like we took that stuff. It was my whole world. You know how it is, man. Yeah. It was my whole world. My whole world. I spent every single day, 24 hours a day. My roommate was a SEAL. He's my best friend, my running mate. What do we do on Saturdays? We went to the team. What do we do on Sundays? We went to the team. That's all we did. We went to the team. We worked out. We worked on our gear. That's all we did all the time. And when we weren't doing that, we were out drinking with the boys. Yeah. And so that's all we did. That was my whole life. That's the only thing I cared about. So if you came in there and you weren't serious about it, we had a problem.
Yeah.
We had a problem. But we also really wanted everyone to be good. Yeah. And we wanted to help everyone. We wanted everyone to be the best shot. We wanted everyone to be the best tactician. We wanted everyone to understand the radios and the dive gear. Like we were very proactive in trying to help the newer guys learn. And I mean, I still when I just talked about Thanksgiving, one of the new guys in that platoon was over at my house for Thanksgiving.
Oh, wow.
And so, these guys are my bros for life. And that was a great platoon. It was actually an interesting platoon. I wrote about it in the book, Leadership, Strategy, and Tactics. But we had an officer that had come from a different community in the Navy. So he was a lat transfer. So he didn't have any experience, which isn't that big of a deal. That happens, that's fine. But he was unfortunately, he was pretty insecure, which made him kind of overcompensate with arrogance and ego. And we ended up having a mutiny against him.
No shit.
Yep. And we had a mutiny against him and got him fired.
Was the OIC on board?
This was the OIC.
Oh, okay.
What did I say?
Oh, I'm sorry. I thought it was, when you said just an officer, I assumed like AOIC or third.
It was the OIC.
Wow, man, that's fucking pirate shit right there.
Yeah, it was pirate activity. And actually, the funny thing is, when we originally went, we requested captain's mast.
Wow.
The E-Dogs requested captain's mast.
No way.
So we all go up there, and there's probably 10 of us standing at attention in the skipper's office. And he's like, what the hell's going on? And he went down the line, and we all, the officer's there, the OIC's arrogant. He doesn't listen to us. He doesn't take any input. And we got done with our complaints. And he goes, you know what this sounds like to me? This sounds like a mutiny. We don't have mutinies in the Navy, and we're not going to have a mutiny at my SEAL team. You go get the shit figured out. And the guy was a respected commanding officer. And so we, roger that, sir. But then he started pulling the thread on, what was going on.
Yeah.
And he realized that guy needed to go. So he fired that guy and then brought in another guy who was like one of the most legendary SEALs at the time and a guy who's revered by everyone in the community.
Yeah.
He came in and took over as our OIC. And when that happened, it was just the best. Yeah. And that was probably the most pivotal moment or the pivotal thing that happened to me in my Navy career to go from, a guy that we have a mutiny against to this guy that everyone admires and loves and would follow anywhere.
Yeah.
And seeing that happen, and the guy that took over was a prior enlisted senior chief, bro.
Oh, wow.
So he had done everything.
Who was that? Can you say? Or
I in the book I call him Delta Charlie.
Oh, okay.
But he doesn't really like his name being used too much. But actually, belay my last. His name has been said before. Anyways, I know he likes to keep a low profile, but you'll know who he is. I'll tell you later. Everybody knows him. He's one of the most revered, loved guys.
Yeah.
And he took over, and just he's like a legendary guy, and super humble, super professional, awesome at everything. He'd been stationed at every SEAL team, every different type of team, and he was a plank owner at Dam Neck. He was UDT. He was just the best. But with all that experience, super humble, put us in charge of everything, let us run everything, just epic.
Yeah.
And it made our lives awesome. And so that was the first real kind of visibility that I had, first idea that I had of maybe becoming an officer, because this guy was a prior senior chief, and it just made our world awesome.
Yeah.
And so I said, at some point, maybe if I can, I'll make the world awesome for 16 guys in a SEAL platoon.
Man, that's super cool. During the kind of mutiny phase, was the AOIC on board, or was it just enlisted?
The AOIC, this was the whole thing was crazy. So the whole thing was crazy. My AOIC was a guy named Alton Lee Grizzard, and Grizz for short. Well, Grizz was, this whole platoon was awesome. And Grizz was this guy from the Naval Academy. He was a quarterback at the Naval Academy. Oh, cool. And he was a star quarterback at the Naval Academy. He broke a bunch of Roger Staubach's records. Damn. He was just a total stud. Nice, down-to-earth, friendly. His dad was an old Navy chief, then warrant officer. Yeah. Just a stud. Everybody loved this guy. And he ended up getting murdered in the BOQ in Coronado.
Fuck, I remember hearing about that.
So it was 1993. He ends up getting murdered. And it was just like a total blow. You know, this guy was one of the boys. I was very, very close with him. And I mean, we all were, of course. And, you know, just totally terrible. So the OIC that was now, when the OIC took over, the new OIC took over, the AOIC had come in to replace Grizz. And like that guy, God bless him, great guy. I'm still friends with him today. Yeah. But like it was really hard shoes to step into. But, you know, obviously we weren't like mad at the guy.
Yeah.
But so he was kind of a little bit along for the ride because he hadn't been there for very long. Yeah. You know, so he's just going, oh, what the hell is going on here?
And the circumstances were some kind of like jealous ex-boyfriend thing or something like that.
So it was, it was like a jealous ex-boyfriend, and the guy showed up, killed Grizz, killed the girlfriend, and then killed himself.
Man, that's brutal.
It was freaking terrible. What a loss.
Yeah. But yeah, so he steps in and big shoes to fill and a little in over his head. So he was just kind of
he's just kind of just trying to get his bearings a little bit, and then all of a sudden we have a mutiny.
Man,
yeah.
Is there ever a parallel, or like how do you kind of reconcile that tactic in the corporate world, where at what point does it make sense to do something like that? Like, is there almost a checklist or a litmus before you do something? Do you ever recommend that's a possible course of action?
Yeah, man. If I write you a letter, you should listen to what I'm saying in the letter. Yeah. Because if you don't get on board with what I'm telling you in the letter, you're going to get fired.
Yeah.
That's so, you do these escalations of counseling where it's like, hey, Mike, hey, man, you got to start paying attention to what your platoon's saying to you. And you're like, yeah, whatever. Like, hey, Mike, hey, listen, you really need to take input. Like your platoon chief, he knows a lot. And you're coming up with plans that you need to bounce them off at a minimum and get feedback. Yeah, but I see the big picture. You can see where I'm going with this.
Yeah. So
most of the time, eventually you can break through a person's ego and they go, yeah, you know what? You're right, dude. I need to chill out. I don't know everything. Yeah. My way is not the best way every single time. All right, cool. I got it. I'm sorry. Most of the time that happens. Occasionally, you have someone that is completely blind to their own ego and arrogance, and that's when there is not a solution to that. They're not going to correct themselves.
Yeah.
And this is why I say when I was working in TRADET, when we would fire a guy like from a leadership position, it would be because not because they didn't know how to shoot their gun, not because they didn't know how to freaking read a map. It's because they didn't listen to anyone. They were arrogant.
Yeah.
And if that's how you are, you're going to get people killed.
Yeah.
So
excuse me. I guess even in that leadership role where you would, like from a corporate standpoint, is there a time where you would kind of, I don't know, walk people through how to negotiate or navigate that where their boss is fucked up and they're having to have a mutiny on him? Is that something you ever go through?
Yeah. So generally in those types of situations, I'll end up talking to the board of the company, right? And now you're talking to the board of the company and you start laying out the sequences that you've gone through with, in this case, the CEO.
Yeah.
Because if it's the COO who's arrogant, then you're talking to the CEO. But eventually you're saying, hey, here's what I have told this individual. Here's the reports that I've given him. Here's the feedback that I've given him. Here's the 360 eval that we ran so he could understand how everyone feels about him. Here's the direct letter that I wrote to him telling him that if he didn't change, he was going to get fired. And here's the next move that he made.
Yeah.
And they go, Roger that.
Yeah. So it's pretty easy
So
at that point.
You hope that people can be humbled, but there's a reason. And look, when you get to become the CEO of a big company, you're there because you have confidence. What you said earlier, like you don't take that job thinking, oh no, I think I'm going to fail. No, you're like, oh, I can handle this.
Yeah.
But you just can't let that get out of control.
Yeah.
Or it's going to be problematic.
Yeah. All right. So that platoon, super solid. That was the second one. Then the third one, anything, I guess, significant happened in the third platoon?
Well, there's one more thing about that second platoon. So we're an ARG platoon and we're off the coast of Camp Pendleton and we're doing a hydrographic reconnaissance and the waves are freaking huge. And, the Marine Corps is doing a landing and we're doing the hydrographic reconnaissance for the Marines. So it's freezing cold. It's an all-night evolution. The waves are huge. Guys getting washed up on the beach. Like it's just a nightmare. It's just a total gut check. We get the whole thing done. We get the hydro done. We get back in our Zodiacs. We drive back out to the freaking LPD. We go through the making of the chart and then go and call the boats in for the Marine Corps. The Marine Corps gets done. So it's been like 36 hours of straight work, 48 hours of straight work. We get back out to the ship after the Marines are on land, and the Marines decide that they didn't like the way the landing went. Not on our part, but just on their part. They're like, hey, we sucked. We're doing it again. So the Marines leave the beach. They come back out, and they reload, and they're like, we're going to do this whole thing again. We sucked. We made too many mistakes. We didn't meet the standard. We're doing it again. Roger that. SEALs, you're going to do another hydrographic reconnaissance. Cool. Sea state's still crazy. We get back out there. Everyone's freezing cold. And we had just done the hydrographic reconnaissance, right? And for those of you that don't know what that means, you get in the water, and this is the old days, and you have a freaking piece of string with lead on the bottom of it with markings on how deep the water is, and you get in a big line, and you measure how deep the water is, and in between measuring the water, you dive down and look for obstacles that might be that might damage vessels that are coming into the beach.
Super efficient.
Super efficient. So we get in our boat pool. And we're just about to launch swimmers. And so there's the 18 guys in the freaking, all standing by. And we had just done it. We already done it. We turned in the map, the chart to the Marines. They know what's on there. There's been no obstacles planted in the last 24 hours. And someone says, are we really going to do this again? And that platoon commander, the legendary platoon commander, he says, well, we don't have to, but would that be the right thing to do? And it was like no one said another word. Guys got their shit on, and we went and did the hydrographic reconnaissance. Man. But that right there was that's like the mark, the guide for me for the rest of my career was is that the right thing to do?
Yeah.
And that's it. No one would ever know.
Yeah.
But are we frogmen? Are we really going to not do a hydrographic reconnaissance right now? Are we really going to turn in a map because it's going to be easier to do?
Yeah.
So that was a huge impact for me and always left a mark of, doesn't matter who's looking, not looking.
Yeah.
You do the right thing.
To me, it's remarkable that something so simple and such a short moment can have that kind of impact on other men's lives.
Yeah, and it was because it was a culmination of so much that I had seen from that guy.
Yeah.
So many things that he did. He was taking out the trash. He was giving us, letting us plan stuff, letting us run operations. Just everything he did was just ultra squared away.
Yeah. To me, in hearing that though, just the way you say it is super powerful, because to me it's one of those. There's a lot of ways he could have said that. And just in that kind of delivery, because imagine the difference between saying, yeah, you fucking loser, we're going out there and doing it and shut up and get your shit. But the way that he said that has such a different and much more profound impact.
And like you said, he didn't say, we are going to do it.
Yeah.
He literally gave it to us.
Yeah.
And he had spent enough time with us probably at that point to know that we were going to do the right thing. But yeah, it's everything about it. It was like the perfect delivery of the perfect message and from the perfect leader that I always tried to emulate.
Yeah. Yeah, it's amazing. It reminds me, in a strange way, there was an interview with a divorce attorney. Maybe you've seen him on Soft White Underbelly. This guy, like, you know, he's spent decades going through, you know, people getting divorced is messy, et cetera, and has actually some pretty remarkable and brilliant kind of lessons and principles from, you know, ones that work versus ones that don't or whatever. But he mentions kind of the same thing. Like, I don't know why I'm making this parallel, but it just jumped into my mind. But, you know, a woman saying, like, if you have a couple days of growth and you try to kiss her and she complains about it, you know, versus when you're freshly shorn and kisses you and then, like, in a very seductive way grabs your face and says, God, I love when you have a shaved face. Like, just the, you know, the difference, you're saying the same thing, but the way that it comes across and how that other person receives it is completely different. You know, and to me, like, there's so many things in life that are that way. Like, the way that you say something can be the difference between somebody being resistant to it or somebody actually being motivated and inspired by how they say it, you know. So I think, to me, it just, you know, speaks volumes and kind of highlights the importance of that pregnant pause of thinking before you say something and trying to make it resonate with your audience, whether it's one person or 1,000 people, in that same manner, you know, where it's super impactful that way. But man, what a cool story.
Yeah, that guy never raised his voice, never yelled at anybody. And dude, we were young, idiot team guys. We did dumb shit. Yeah. And he would, you know, nod his head, Roger, all right, let's figure this one out.
Yeah. Speaking of stubble, even for charity, would you ever grow a beard, like, for charity?
It's not really my thing.
Well, I mean, that's kind of the whole point. Like, I don't think, have you ever had one?
No.
Never had one? I think it'd be cool to, like, if we could raise money for some charity.
After like a couple days, I find it very annoying. Yeah. You know, just
I think that's most people, but
hair and facial hair has never really been my thing.
And that's a policy within Echelon, right? Or is it not?
It's not really, but it's just sort of,
it's kind of what you do.
Seems like the way things go down.
Yeah, I gotcha. All right, so 3 platoons at Team 1. What did after that third one? I guess 1, did anything significant happen? And 2, is that where you really decided, hey, I want to take the officer route?
Yeah, so it's my third platoon. Again, now I'm, you know, in my third platoon, and you know what it's like now when you're in third platoon. You actually you're pretty decent at being a basic team guy at that point. You know, you're pretty squared away at that stuff. So you're doing, you know, you're definitely teaching a lot and sharing the stuff with the new guys and all that. And you know, we were probably too hard on our new guys in that platoon. By that point, we were definitely, like I said, we loved the teams. And now we're just more indoctrinated into the teams. You know, we're just more all day, every day. You know, the guy I talked about that I went through, so one guy, I went through Buds with him, went through STT with him. I did 3 platoons with him, and we were roommates that whole time. So, like, and all we did was team guy shit. Yeah. So, you know, that's like, what did you do for Thanksgiving? Went to the team. What did you do for Christmas? Went to the team. Like, that's all we did.
Yeah.
And so, yeah, by the time we were in our third platoon, you know, if you weren't doing what you should be doing and you were told and warned, you know, we were a little too much in that platoon. You know, I talked to those guys. Again, these are guys all became my friends, and I talk to them now. And they're all thankful. Yeah. You know, they're all like, man, you know, I'm so glad we were in that platoon. But they'll also be like, at the time, like I was talking to one of those guys, and he's like, I just hated even going to work, which I know is too much, right? Yeah. One of the guys was like, I hated going to work. I didn't want to see you guys. And I was like, yeah, that's terrible. Yeah. I didn't mean it to be like that, you know? So, but they're all, in saying that, would all be like, yeah, we were glad that we were raised hard.
Yeah. That's a trip. I mean, you know, it's always a happy medium with that, I guess. But did you, as those, I guess, relationships progressed, did that ever cause problems, like during that time or afterwards, or did everybody kind of get through it?
No, we're, you know, again, see these guys to this day. It's like, hey, what's up, bro? Of course. It's awesome.
Yeah. Where did you guys deploy on that one?
We did back-to-back ARGs.
Oh, okay.
So there was a crew of us that were together for those 3 platoons, and we did 1 platoon to Guam, and then we did back-to-back ARGs.
Was that before the Bosnia stuff or during? Or?
There was some Bosnia stuff going on, but there was some Bosnia stuff going on at this time, but we weren't. We didn't do it.
Yeah,
we did like. I think we did a shipboarding in the Persian Gulf, even before everyone was doing shipboardings.
Yeah.
Because I ended up doing that later, so we did a shipboarding.
Like a oil embargo tanker.
No, it was like some distressed vessel that like we weren't sure if it was just a total scam.
Yeah. During so that 3rd platoon, like you didn't even go home for Christmas?
I don't remember. I think we were deployed for that Christmas, but
gotcha.
yeah, I was being a little sarcastic, you know, but like we were just really into the teams.
Yeah, super into
it.